How you doing?
I'm doing really fine, yeah. How are you?
I'm all right. I just finished up with my work day. So
Nice.
yeah.
What kind of work do you do?
Um I'm an environmental compliance specialist.
Okay, so like what kind of physical activities or brain activities do you work out?
Oh, it's I'm like an inspector for hazardous waste. Um I mean I like go to manufacturing plants and I check them out and I do a lot of regulatory work with all of those facilities all over Georgia.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool.
I work for this. I work for the state of Georgia.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you passionate about like your work as an environmentalist?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, it's what I went to school for. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay, that's cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm using my degree, which is good. Yeah,
Yeah, cool. Yeah, really nice that you wanted to do this interview. Thank you. That's
yeah, no
that's
problem.
awesome.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, like, there's no reason not to, right?
Yeah, sure. I
Yeah.
like that spirit. Yeah. Um, so first things first, how have you been like the last year, like musically with your band?
Um, so right at the beginning of this year, we went on. I mean, we've been working on an album for the better part of, I mean, we kind of started it in like 2019 or something like that. Um, Kind of right after the first record we did. Uh, and we've just been writing, recording, doing things over and over until right at the beginning of this year, we went on our first mini tour. It was like three shows, out of
Mhm.
state. We did New York. We played in Brooklyn, Baltimore, and then we went down to we're like a week later we went over to Nashville. So it was like three places we hadn't done, and right after doing all of that, we were pretty tight, as a band, and we went into the studio. I think at the end
Like
of
tight
May,
or tired?
tight, tight,
Yeah.
tight, and tired.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we went into the studio with the guy who mixed our the last record that we put out, the self-titled, and recorded the record finally. And um, I mean, pretty much today, I got to listen to it again. I think we've got final masters and everything on that record, so we're in a bit of a good spot with that, I guess. Um, it's a little up in the air as to like how we're gonna release it and all of that. There's a bunch of like processes that we've got to go through still with all that. So I'm not really sure when it's coming out or any of that, but the record's done. Um, I literally a couple weeks ago, I just moved up to New York City, from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Uh, Me without the rest of the band. So, and our drummer had already left the band at the beginning of the year, right after we recorded that record. Uh, they stayed with us pretty much just to finish that record and then kind of stepped away. Uh, and yeah, currently it's like it's kind of up in the air what's going on with all that. Because we've got a record, but we're scattered across the United States now, or at least I am. And well, I mean, we'll see where it goes from there.
What
Yeah.
was your like your main reason to go move to New York?
I think I just kind of was a little exhausted of living in Georgia in general. I mean, Atlanta too. Um, it's just I've been there my whole life, or yeah, I was there my entire life, and there's like a way of doing things that you kind of get stuck into that I wanted to break out of. I wanted to live in a place that was more walkable, where I could kind of engage with people and like the place I live a little bit more. Um, it was always kind of hard for me to do that in Atlanta. You're driving a lot there. It's like a highway city, and it starts to get exhausting after a while, especially just like with work commutes and all of that. Like you'd spend like 3 hours a day in a car, which is just like lost time that you don't ever get back. And I don't know, it starts to get kind of frustrating and a little bit like alienating after a while. So
Yeah,
I think I just got kind of tired of it. And my girlfriend, who I moved up here with, she also just wanted to move. We were both kind of set on New York City. We have a lot of friends here already,
that's
so
nice.
it's kind of made the transition really easy. But yeah, we literally just got up here. We drove up. Um,
You're right now in New York as well.
yeah, yeah, I'm
But
in Brooklyn right now.
oh, okay,
It's
nice.
Bushwick right outside my window there. Yeah,
What's outside your window?
Bushwick. It's my neighborhood where I live in.
I don't know who Bushwick is, to be honest.
Oh,
You tell me.
it's like a neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, there's a lot of neighborhoods in like Brooklyn is actually Breukelen from the Netherlands. That's a
Oh yeah, yeah. That makes
well,
sense. There's a lot of Dutch people, and
yeah,
I
they
mean
have
I've been driving around and in like some of the areas, not particularly close to me, but in the outer areas of Brooklyn, you can kind of see like the architectural influence from Dutch immigrants that moved over here, and the way that some of the houses look and the buildings. It's like really obvious that it was people
you have
from the
like
Netherlands.
tables like that go like this, or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
stuff like that, or like
Mhm.
I don't know. It's like the colors of stuff just kind of looks like what I've seen of like the Netherlands.
Yeah,
I have a friend that lives over in Rotterdam, so I'm like semi familiar with the Netherlands Dutch culture, just through
sure.
him and his family. But
Yeah, but it's great that you moved to New York though. Because to me, I know I'm not American at all, but to me, your music sounds kind of like no wave to me, and no wave kind of came from New York, right?
yeah, I mean, like my influences, I feel like are primarily New York centered. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I kind of
whenever I think of the bands that I'm inspired by and just the artists in general, it's the vast majority of it's like bands from New York. You know, at least the ones that I'm like directly, pulling from. You could say like Glenn Branca, Swan, Sonic Youth, any of the no wave bands like Mars or you know,
oh really?
yeah,
That's
Theoretical Girls and stuff like that.
yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah, all those '80s, '70s New York bands.
yeah. It's cool you're going over to New York to still get like the scene going, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been here long enough to really know what the music scene's like. Really,
Oh,
it'll
right
probably be
now,
a little
yeah.
while before I get into figuring out what local acts I'm into and whatnot. It takes a bit. I don't know what venues to go to or anything like that yet. I know a little bit, and I've got friends that go to shows, but everyone's got different music tastes, and it's like a really diverse city. I went to a show last night that I think there were a few bands, but it was uh, one. I mean, none of them sounded similar to each other. So it's yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see what like remnants of like the New York sound are even here anymore.
Yeah, that
Um,
must be very exciting.
yeah,
Yeah. I hope
yeah,
you'll find out soon, like what the scene kind of is like. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
nice.
it's a big city. There's people making stuff. I
Yeah,
know that. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, you can just pick up people from the street to make music with, basically.
Right, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Uh, did you work with the same producer for the latest album that you haven't released yet with your album Vengas?
Yeah, so that the Vengas record, the self-titled, uh, that record was really a bunch of home recordings, and we had already released a lot of those songs at through Chunklet, but because of the way that I had been working with my recordings, I had a lot of trouble mixing stuff. I would always record it to tape, and it's like kind of a pain in the ass mixing off a tape because you're like printing the entire mix live each time, and it's like frustrating when we wanted to like we had the idea to put everything just on a record together with a couple extra songs that we liked but hadn't really had a chance to use. So we just decided to get it all mixed by the same guy, Dan Dixon, and through Henry from Chunklet's recommendation because he had worked with him before, and we were really happy with the results of that. So we decided that we should just record a record at his studio that he's got in his it's like in his like garage next to his house over down in Atlanta. Um it's like a full built-in studio just like in what used to be a garage. And yeah, it was a good experience. And he also has done the mixing and the mastering of this record that we haven't released. So
Was it comfortable to be in a garage like at someone's house instead of like in a major city in a major building or something in a
it
real
was pretty comfortable. Yeah, I mean, it feels like a studio in there. It doesn't feel like you're in a garage. It's like on the
No?
outside, it looks like a garage, and then you go in, and it's like a studio.
Yeah,
Uh,
okay. Yes.
and it's pretty. It was pretty laid back. I mean, I've never actually been in an actual studio to record. I've like walked into a couple before,
Mhm.
but so I've really got no idea how it would compare from
No,
like
okay.
my experience before that is just recording in whatever basement of whatever house we were renting at the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I've just always recorded in basements and kind of nothing else until that point.
Right.
Yeah, but having a little bit of sound isolation and way more mics on everything, it's fun to mess around, you know.
Sure. Yeah. And I was wondering, like for the Vengas album, a lot of songs say remix at the end of their title. How did that come to be?
That's exactly what I was just talking about. So like there's if you listen to the original versions, the single versions, the mixes are just totally different.
Mm.
So it's just and Spotify
The
doesn't
tape
let you,
versions, you
you're
mean?
not allowed to upload the same thing on there twice with the same title.
Ah,
Uh,
yeah.
so you have to have some kind of thing. So that was just what we had to do. We just had to
Uh,
say that it was a remix, even though you know it's yeah, it's just like a it's like the official. I don't know.
I
The
imagine
old
that
one,
would be kind of disappointing.
yeah, the old ones are not nearly as good. I don't think. I don't. Yeah, I don't really care for the old mixes. The new ones are a lot better. It's
Right, good.
yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so who's the person that's puking in the toilet, like on the
Uh,
picture you have on Spotify and YouTube
that's
and everything?
that's me. Um, it's I think it's like Spankatopia. I don't know how to say it. That I had eaten from like a dining hall at college in university, and I was throwing that up in the bathroom of the college radio station that I was in. Uh, and my friend just decided to follow me into the bathroom and snap a photo.
Hmm.
So that's yeah.
And you honor him for that now.
Yeah. I haven't seen that guy in a minute, but I think he lives up here. in New York, so maybe I'll see him while I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should thank
Uh,
him, I
yeah.
guess. But that's cool, yeah. And also you have like plastic bags over your face on both the facial tissue album and or I don't know if it's you, but like a plastic bag on someone's face, and also on the Vengas album there's someone with a plastic bag on their face.
Oh, so
The album covers.
the one on the self-titled record is it's a poncho.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the other one was a bag that I got from I think it's Low Yo Yo, the record store in Athens, Georgia. Um, they just had these like pink bags that they gave you when you bought a record there, and
Mm,
I just liked the color, so I was like, I should use this on a record. And
nice.
I just, yeah, I don't know, you got to have a cover, so
Yeah, it would be fun if
that was my idea for it.
does that record store also sell your album?
I don't know. I haven't been there in a while.
Mm,
They might. I would assume that. Uh, I've seen that our newer record, the self-titled in the record stores that I do go to, or that I would go to in Atlanta, which would be like Wuck Street or Ella Guru. I've seen it at both of those, so I would assume it's probably over at Low Yo-Yo too.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you tell them the story of how the album cover was made, they might sell it even more.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a different. That album we don't have on vinyl, so maybe if we,
Oh, okay.
yeah, maybe if we ever put that one on a vinyl record, then they might do that. We'll just
Sure.
send all of the copies to them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Do you like vinyl yourself?
Yeah, I like to collect like the records and everything, and I have like a sound system that I've kind of built. I need like a new record player. My record player itself is kind of shitty, but I've got like nice speakers and a amp that I like to listen through. And I've got like a decent collection of stuff. Um,
What is some of your favorite
but,
records to listen to when you're home and you
like
have?
ones that I have.
Yeah.
My girlfriend for Christmas bought me a copy of it's a Sheena Ringo record that I can't pronounce the title of. Um,
Oh, Sheena Ringo. That's a Japanese artist, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. We had gone to Japan this past year, and I was like desperately looking through record stores to see if I could find any of because they just reissued all of her records, and I was trying to find any of them, and I couldn't.
Mm.
So she ended up buying me one of those. The one with the teacup on the front. I don't know if you're
Oh, right.
familiar.
Yeah.
I
That's the
can't
most
pronounce
one I've
the
listened
title.
to.
I don't want to butcher it. Um, but yeah, I mean that's one of my favorites that I have in my collection. Um, I think the one that I've got on the turntable right now is Stereo Lab. I think it's their second record. I'm not good with album names,
Is it green?
especially with it's Transients. It's like it's a long title. It's Transients and it's got a
Mhm.
yellow and blue cover.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, yeah, yeah, that one.
Nice.
Uh, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I've got a copy of the Ascension by Glenn Branca that I like to listen to a lot. I don't know.
That's
I've got a lot of my favorites in there. Um, Not all of them get that much play. Because I don't want to fuck them up by playing them too
Mhm.
much, right?
Oh, yeah. You seem to
Yeah.
like a lot of very dissonant and kind of no wave kind of music, like very harsh. How did you come to get inspired or really like that kind of stuff?
I think it really. I mean, I started listen. I think the band that kind of did it for me was Can. When I started listening to Can when I was very young, like 13 or something like that, and I mean, and all of my friends really didn't like it, at least at first. I think a lot of them would now, uh, but it was just very interesting to me. So I just kind of kept delving down that path, like especially with a lot of that like rock stuff uh, from like the late '60s and early '70s. Like Faust too is like another one that I really got into, or like Noi. All of those bands, I feel like I mean, those guys, I feel like are all kind of really influential on like later, noisier, like more experimental stuff. Um, and I think it was just kind of the gateway for me. I just kind of moved forward chronologically with that. You listen to that stuff, and it's kind of easy to just go forward in time, and you can hear what like the next bands that were inspired by them, and then
But then
all the
how
way
did
up, all the
you
way up to now. People are still trying to copy Can. I feel like.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
But
But
yeah,
do you
I mean, I think with getting into like noise rock and stuff, it really was. I didn't want to learn how to play the guitar properly because it was like too difficult. So I started playing in a particular way, and then I kind of started gravitating towards music that uh, kind of sounded like the stuff that I was kind of trying to do myself. It kind of made me realize, like, oh, okay, you can actually make good music that sounds like this. When I was starting out playing guitar, when I was like, I think I started at like 15 or something like that. Yeah. I don't know. It's just like a rabbit hole that you get down if you're just a kid at home on the internet. It's like so easy to find all of those like weird out there albums that everyone online obsesses over.
yeah, do you still play the same way as you did when you were 15?
I think back then I probably played a little bit uh, not better, but more I, I was probably better at playing like conventional songs. I could do like a cover of a song a lot easier. Um, but I like these days I like don't play in standard tuning that much. So it kind of works the way that you like approach the instrument. I think when like half the time, all the guitars that I have laying around are like in different tunings or whatnot that I've made on.
Nice.
It makes it, yeah. It's like it's just different. I don't know, but it's like I've got the same muscle memory that I do. I think, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just like it's different sounds coming out. I used to be really into effects too, like delays and stuff, and now I kind of just like it going through the amp pretty straight, except when I'm like recording and maybe I have a little bit of something on there. But I don't really mess with effects too much anymore.
Yeah, you just
It-
wanna like straight play.
yeah, I mean, because when you're doing a lot of dissonant stuff on the guitar, uh, a lot of effects don't really take it that well, other than like distortion or like reverb, you know. Or if you're playing a lot of wrong notes, like a delay will just repeat your wrong note forever, and yeah, it's I mean stuff like that. It sometimes just doesn't carry through that well. But like my pedal board right now, it's like a boost pedal, a distortion pedal, and like a chorus. I have like a little Boss chorus that I like to use just occasionally. I like to use it for like specific songs that I've done, but
Which ones?
it's like stuff that's not released yet.
Okay.
Yeah, but I would use it live a lot. If you ever, there's like some recordings online of us playing live that,
I've seen some.
yeah, and it's probably mixed in there with unlittle lead lines and stuff. I think it only pops up on the new record like twice. Two little portions of songs.
Yeah, are you
Other
excited?
than that, it's like no effects really. Yeah.
Mm. Are you excited to give the album to everyone that wants to listen to it, to give it out to onto the world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually like pretty proud of. this new record. I'm like very happy with how it turned out. Um, I definitely like it a lot more than anything I've done before. So, and yeah, I don't know. I normally at this point, in like the recording process, you're at the point where you've listened to the mixes and the masters and even like the tracks before while you were actually recording, probably like 100 times each. And normally at this point, I would be absolutely sick of all of it. I wouldn't ever want to hear it again. Like the self-titled record, I have not listened to that since it came out. Not a, it's like I can't bother. I listened to it to check it and make sure we didn't fuck anything up, once it was like on streaming and all that. Um, but other than that, it's like I can't really listen to that stuff. Maybe in a few years I'll be able to, right? But um
But on
the
this
new
one,
one the new one I'm still fine. Like if I listen to it, if I throw on some headphones and check all the masters and everything, I'm not sick of it yet, which I'm surprised about.
is
So
there a difference between making the Vengas record and your newest record that isn't out yet?
I don't know. I mean, it was like the recording process was a lot smoother on this one, which probably had to do with it because we did it in literally just a weekend. It was
Hmm.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we did like 3 8-hour days. Um, and our drummer was only with us like the first 2 days, and we finished all of that, and then the third day was just like overdubs and vocals. So it was like a smooth process. Normally the recording process would just be stretched out so long because we were always really inefficient workers when it came to like recording. It was always kind of hard to like rally everyone together and get everyone into the same room and like actually wanting to do stuff. Because I don't think everyone really like. My favorite part of making music personally is like the recording process when you like fine tune stuff and you get to experiment with your sound a little, but it's like we never really got to do that much because I don't think the rest of the band really was that into recording. They kind of just like jamming and playing,
Sure.
or like doing shows and stuff. And I mean, I like shows, playing shows is cool, but I definitely am more of a at home kind of guy. I don't know. It's just what I thought was fun. And it was always frustrating, I think, before. So all that old stuff is it kind of carries all of that with. It was all just a frustrating process getting it all done, you
Yeah.
know? But the new one it just was smooth. And I mean our drummer left right after, right? Which was, there was some like, stress around that, whatnot. But at this point it's like I don't care about any of that. It's you know what I mean? I'm done with it and it feels good to be done with.
And it hadn't to do with the experience of recording the album, right? Because
Yeah. I think the experience of recording it, and also I think like the music on this, like to be frank, the music on the new record, I think it's like better music. It's like more fine tuned, and I just like it more. It's like something that if another band put out, I think I would probably enjoy it. So
that's very
yeah,
exciting to me.
yeah. I hope it's. I mean, it's like it's like the stuff that we were playing live for years. So um, and I think I mean, in Atlanta, we kind of made a bit of a name for being like a good live band locally. Uh, and it was like the stuff that we were playing live that everyone that would come to our shows knew. So I think we kind of were able to actually like capture what we sounded like as a band, as a live band. And I'm kind of glad about that, that it's like it's kind of translated over to the record, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all just played in the room. Um, yeah, just everyone playing at once. So
Oh, that's nice.
except for the vocals, yeah, you got to overdub the vocals because it's just like you don't want all the fucking noise of the band bleeding into the vocal
Mhm.
recording.
Yeah,
That shit sucks.
I get
But yeah,
escape, and I bet it's like Georgia or Atlanta, like you show a lot of forests and that kind of thing, like nature, like
oh
on
yeah,
covers and on your videos and on your website. Like, do you really enjoy the nature or the landscape over there?
yeah. I mean, I feel like we always kind of what we would do as friends, like all the four of us before, or not really before, kind of at the same time as like being in the band, is we would just go outside a lot. So it kind of just translates to like when we want to do an album shoot, it's like we like doing stuff outside. We think that it looks cool, like
Mhm.
seeing the outdoors in like a picture. So it just kind of became what was on the covers. I think that forest is just like it's like a small like little swamp off of like a hiking trail that we found, like a not even like a hiking trail up in the mountains or anything. It's like a suburban hiking trail, and then like you walk off into the forest, and there's like some little swamps and stuff.
Mm.
And the other one was in like a quarry that we had just found, and just were like, yeah, let's just go there and do an album shoot. And then we ended up putting out the record, and it was like, all right, yeah, we're gonna use one of the photos from that, because it looked cool. And yeah, I don't know. It was always fun, like pulling together like an album cover. You
Yeah,
know.
and also your music video that I saw today. I don't remember what the song was called, but it's like
Oh, the one
someone is
where
covered in blood. What?
it's one of the ones off of the EP. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's stir crazy, I think.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I mean, that shit was just a mishmash of whatever footage we could just throw together, and like the best thing that we could think to do was just to go outside and mess around until we had enough stuff to fill the time and the song. We really had no idea how to make a music video.
Mm.
I mean, like, yeah, and it kind of translates over to when we did that album video. It's like the full length of the album for facial tissue. It's just like one shot of like me tied up in a chair for the like 50-minute length of the album, just because it's like, yeah, that's an idea. Let's just like throw that at the wall and just like make something out of it. So we just did a single shot, no editing at all of it. I guess we threw some like layers over it, like visually, but yeah, it's literally just an unbroken shot of that. I don't know if we're gonna do any videos for this new record. We wanted to do one for the self-titled record, but it just kind of ended up falling apart and just not really working out. It which just happens sometimes. It's like been hard to be on top of band related stuff lately, uh, especially since we like stopped playing shows and all of that because we're not really doing that anymore at the moment.
Do you
Um,
have like a little community that enjoys your shows and that enjoys your music, like in Atlanta?
yeah, I mean, I think that we did. There were a good number of
Did or you
bands.
do?
What?
Like you did, like not
Oh, I
anymore.
think we do. I mean, there were a good number of bands that um, I think were they would tell us like that we were like their favorite band in the city, and then they started like a band because they met at our show or something like that, and it would always be like younger kids. But when we started out, it was really like it didn't seem like anyone got it. Um, we would kind of clear rooms whenever we started playing. Like everyone would leave the room as soon as like our first song started. But like I mean, towards like the end of us playing shows in the city, yeah, we definitely had like a little bit of a following. People would come out and see us, but I think I don't know. At some point, it kind of just tapered off, and it was like, especially after our drummer left, it was like, yeah, I don't. It doesn't really feel like it makes sense to just keep doing shows until we figure out whatever we're doing with this like new record.
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely like a little bit of an audience that we got down.
Nice, yeah. To me, it sounds a lot like you just like all the ideas that are coming up in your creative head, you just do them, and it doesn't matter if it's like correct or right, or if it's too dissonant or something or whatever. You just do them. Like ideas like sitting in a chair for an hour or playing guitar the way you do, like both musically and visually. It's kind of
Yeah,
a
I
mindset.
mean, I think I'm like a fan of conceptual art a lot, you know, where you just kind of approach something with like a concept, you know, and then you just try like try to do that, you know, like with the video, you know, the concept was just single shot. Like, what can we do with that? Like, let's try to just do a one shot video, or you know, with like a lot of like the newer songs that we've got are they're very like repetitive, and it's kind of just like a single idea that we just like hammer in, and it's like, where can we take that, you know? And it's just like throwing stuff at the wall until it becomes something, and kind of letting it evolve on its own without really allowing uh, the human influence to do too much to it. Just kind of letting things naturally evolve with from the initial idea, rather than trying to kind of conduct this like whole orchestration of, you know, really like complicated things that you're having to do to pull it off. um I don't know, I think a lot of the time you can kind of get a more interesting result when things just
That's awesome.
yeah, I don't know. I
That's
think
awesome.
that's just like my approach to making art, music, and everything. Yeah, I don't know.
I think we should finish up a little bit because we have like not a lot of time left, and I think
Yeah,
it's
that's chill.
awesome, man. Thanks a lot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I wasn't sure how much more time we had. I'm
No, we have.
assuming it's like
Can you
2
see it?
minutes.
Like how much time we
It
have?
says 10 minutes for me.
Oh, really? For me, it says only
But
two.
it's not counting down. It's just a static time, which is 10 minutes. I think it said it before.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's not that long, but
Okay.
yeah, this is awesome, man. And it's cool you're living in New York right now. That sounds like great news. Like
Yeah, I
lot
hope
of
it's
jazz,
I hope
lot
it's
of
good
stuff.
news for whatever music I'm doing down the road. You
Yeah,
know, I know plenty of musicians here, so I'm sure I'll be cooking
like
up some.
personally.
Yeah, yeah. Like before even moving here, I've already a bunch of guys up here that play in bands, or maybe they don't have a band. They're like working in a studio or something like that. You know.
Yeah,
So yeah,
for sure.
well, I mean, we'll see what
So we have
happens.
less than a minute. I'll,
Okay.
I'll I want to say goodbye to you. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
So have a great month. I hope you will release the album, and I'll go listen to it.
Yeah.
Like,
It'll be out. It'll come out. I
yeah,
hope. Yeah. I hope it does too. But yeah, thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate it.
for sure.